Hey everybody, it's Polaris, and welcome to the new office space. Definitely changed it up a little bit. And also I'm just in my new place. If you all are new or haven't been catching up, I just kind of just want to peek up real quick so y'all can see how everything is. Oh no, now is it focused? Oh no, I shouldn't have done that. It's okay. We're just gonna roll with it now. But welcome to the channel if you're new, and hello to everyone else. This is my 200th video on YouTube, which feels very strange to say because it doesn't feel like it's that many videos, but when you consider that I've been doing this for over a year consistently, I'm actually closer to 2 years than I am my first year, which is also honestly surreal to think about, but I just had so much fun doing these kinds of videos and talking, and you've all seen me really transform and get to this space. I mean, you've all seen me move twice now, so this has been exciting, and I'm excited to just share more of the journey and share more of my passion on here. I'm not spoiling too much, but I have been recording a lot more videos in the background that will be slowly being posted. This video, as you can see by the title, I want to talk about what it means to be the light. And this video idea was inspired by a conversation I actually had before I left my old place. When I was saying my goodbyes and farewells, letting people know that I was leaving, I was told by this specific person that I'm a light in life. And that, I can't even begin to dive into words of what that means to me, because for me, I've always searched to be not necessarily special, but truthfully, I've always wanted to be the light in people's lives, and I've always strived to be that way. And it's always been something that's been with me in my core since I was a child, and I definitely went on some learning on how to do that in a more healthier way. And that's kind of what I wanted to share today, and how anyone can be the light in anyone's life, and especially your own life. So what does it mean to be the light in life? First, it means to choose kindness, to choose hope, and to choose patience in a lot of situations in life. I know, for using myself as an example, in the past, I have been very negative Nancy. And I don't necessarily blame myself for that. You can only use what you have, but even when everyone else is saying, this day sucks, or man, this situation is really stressful, choosing to be hopeful. It's different from being optimistic, because you can be optimistic, but being hopeful that things will work out, and that there is a silver lining, and that there is a bright side. That's what I mean by being hopeful. It's different, because if you're just always optimistic, you're missing the duality of life. Because sometimes things do just suck, but I can be hopeful that this will all work out. And I can be stressed about a situation, but be hopeful that things will play out differently and that it will all work out in the end. Choosing kindness. You definitely have a lot of free will in life, I should say. And sometimes just being the first to come off with kindness, smiling, and just being like, hi, how are you? Giving a compliment. I heard this, where did I hear this from? I forget exactly where I heard it from. It might have been Jadina, honestly, on YouTube. But it's basically like, if you're nervous of talking to people and telling someone, hey, I like your shirt, or I like your hair, or oh my gosh, your nails are so cool, right? You have the chance of giving someone the opportunity of receiving a compliment, and you're withholding that. You're withholding that from them. So it kind of plays on, instead of putting it into your perspective, like, oh, I'm scared, I'm shy. Think about, well, you're denying that person a compliment. I think that's how the saying went. But choose that. Oh, I will choose to be kind first. That will be my first interaction. I will try my best, smile, and compliment. Always be like, how are you doing today? I hope you have a good day. Holding the door for someone. Always do that first. Whether or not they reciprocate that energy, that's in your hands of what you choose to do with your energy after that. but always choose to be kind first, even if they come at you wrong. For example, using myself again, sometimes I've worked in customer service, okay? So I know how it can be, but I always try to choose kindness first. But sometimes on the other end, some people I might come back, hi, how are you? And they won't even say nothing to me, and they're working, okay? So like I get it. But sometimes I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, and I'll ask them, "Oh, is your day not going all like is like how do I word it? Like, oh, you're not having a great day." Like if they're just straight to business, which is fine. I mean, you're allowed to do that, but it comes off unkind, I guess, in certain situations, especially when I'm trying to be friendly. And sometimes we give people the benefit of the doubt, like, "Oh, are you having a tough day?" And they'll kind of switch. They're like, "Oh, yeah, it's been a little bit busy, but I hope you have a good day." Most people, when you choose kindness first, even if they don't give it first to you, always be the one to give it first. Did I say that right at all? With being kind also comes patience. So that's why I say choose patience. Once again, we have free will. And if someone snaps at you and yells at you, you know what's the first thing you can do? Take a deep breath. Just take that minute to pause. That's all patience is. It's just pausing for a minute. And I don't like the saying think before you speak, but sometimes I would change it and I would say breathe before you speak. Because taking that minute to just breathe, it gives you a minute to analyze what you're feeling in your body, maybe that person's demeanor and how they're standing, maybe even trying to figure out why they're upset. And it really, I'm telling you, it saved my butt many times to just breathe. Because if you react on anger or even just like anxiety, getting freaked out in the moment, that can really change a scenario. If you just take a pause, breathe, have that patience, it literally resets the situation. Sometimes doing all those things isn't the easiest. So I want to talk about how you can do that. How can you be in the position to be the light? First off, you gotta take care of yourself. You gotta be there for yourself. Truthfully, are you loving to yourself? Are you kind to yourself? Are you patient with yourself? Let's be honest. Because I know I wasn't. In the past, I definitely was not. And I'm still working on it. I'm human, I'm not always the kindest to myself. But when you learn to do those things for yourself, I'm promising you, it is so much easier to give it to others. And that's where I went wrong when I was younger. I was wanting to be so kind to everybody else because I was like, oh, if I'm kind to other people will be kind to me, right? Treat others the way you want to be treated. But if I'm not treating myself that way, then it's just a constant like battle of, I don't even know, wanting, I don't want to say validation because that's not really what I was looking for. But I was seeking love outside of myself, and that wasn't healthy. And the moment I started doing that for myself, it literally just pours out of you. I love the saying of like, fill your own cup. And once your cup is overfilled, that's what you give to other people. Because I used to be pouring from like a barely like maybe half filled, sometimes even empty cup. And it wasn't healthy for me. Now I pour from an overflowing cup because I've learned to love myself, to be patient and kind. And it's an everyday process. And the ways I stay full to myself and stay loving to myself is taking care of myself, making sure I've had plenty to eat, making sure I rest. I definitely like, especially if you work in corporate America, take those 10s, 15s, whatever you get, take those 30s, go outside, touch some grass. I mean this literally. Go out in nature and ground. And just, even if you can't do that once a day, like put it into your routine at least once a week, once a month even, to just go out, take them shoes off, and place your feet on the ground, even just around your own home. Do you walk around with slippers or socks on? Take the socks off. I know I might sound very woo-woo crazy right now, but I'm telling you, I feel so much better when I literally ground myself into the earth, even if it's just me walking around my house with no socks on. And there's magical things that happen when we reconnect with the earth and with nature. I mean, we all come up from the earth, we're part of this life cycle. We're part of this big being. So ground yourself back into it. Even if it's just 10 minutes a day. I love going on walks every day. And I make sure, even if I'm just sitting outside on my patio, like just taking those moments, breathing in the fresh air, and looking as far out as you can into the world also helps. Like looking up at trees. It's just little things like that. Like, truthfully, it's just being present and grounded. And that's what's a big thing that's super important about being present and grounded too, is because once you're present and grounded, you're able to be open with other people, having those one-on-one conversations, looking people in the eye, practicing eye contact with yourself in the mirror is huge. Because when you look at someone, in a way, you're also seeing a reflection of yourself. Because what you can see in them is what you can see in yourself. And having those moments, slowing down to talk to people. I remember beautiful soul, Gene and his wife Eden. I will say them by name because they have been a blessing in my life. I would talk to him, like literally every time he would come in, it was like a prayer answered. I needed to learn how to slow down. Or maybe he tells me something that I was praying about that I needed wisdom on. But I remember our last conversation together, he was I mentioned, I'm like, hey, I want to let you guys know that I'm planning on leaving because I didn't know when I was going to see them next. And in that conversation, they asked me like, how have you become so open? And they compared me, literally, if you looked around the store, every other person, honestly, not even just, I don't want to say my age, but every other person in that building, headphones on, looking at the screen. And I get it. It was finals week. I totally get it. You just want to lock in and get stuff done. I understand that. But when you do that too, you miss out on opportunities and moments to talk to people, to get to know someone, to just see the world a little bit differently. And even in that conversation, I was understanding, like, because they were comparing, like, yo, you see all these kids in here, kids, they say, because they're older. Like, they're all headphones on, they're on their phones, they're in front of a screen. Like, why are you different? And for me, honestly, like, because I went through so much darkness in my life, I grew an appreciation for these small moments. And sometimes that's just how life is. Sometimes you have to miss opportunities to realize, oh man, I've been missing out on so much. How do I open myself back up to noticing these things again? It's always the saying, like, you don't know what you got until it's gone. And I'm telling you, take time to put the phone down. Like, if you're outside on a walk, there's nothing, and I want to say there's nothing wrong with using your phone because there's people you can talk to. There's podcasts out there you can listen to better yourself. There's nothing wrong with it. But obviously things in moderation. But if you're out, challenge yourself. Let's say if you're at the doctor's appointment, or you're waiting for food, or you're on a walk, or you're just sitting outside. Just take 10 just be mindful of it and be conscious and set the phone down and look around and notice the feeling in your body of what's happening. And just know it's okay. Because I know before, when I first started doing this, I would feel like nervous, like, oh, like I look weird. I'm like, no, this is how I'm supposed to be, actually. Just out looking around. Even now, like, I'm looking around this new space I'm in. I'm taking it all in and appreciating this moment. But if you aren't there for yourself, and you're not present in this moment, it's kind of hard to be the light in other people's life. And at the end of the day, it's not even about being the light in other people's life. It's about being the light in your own life. Because if you can be on your own 2 feet and be like, today sucked, but I'm going to pick myself back up. You're able to give that to other people too. You're able to show up to work and be like, man, everyone's saying today sucked, but you know what? You know what, guys? We can do this. Or stressful situation, your tire pops. What a random, very specific example. Your tire pops and you're stressed out. And you just decide, you know what? Let me call for some help. Let me call my parents. Let me call a company for some help. Let me look online to see what kind of tires are good. Let me look at my savings. Let me, you work through it. And it's just those little things every day. And holding the door for someone, complimenting someone. It's little acts every day. And I believe if we all can do that, even just once a day, you challenge yourself to compliment someone, which I personally don't fully recommend because I'd rather it come naturally because those are the best kinds of compliments. But truthfully, being the light comes down to being there for yourself. And if you're not there for yourself, it's all going to fall apart. Because if you can't love yourself, it's honestly really hard to love other people. I'll be honest. I'm not saying you can't love other people, but it's harder. And once you love yourself, you can push past any resistance, and you will notice a difference. When you are patient with yourself, when you're kind to yourself, seriously, look yourself in the mirror and compliment yourself. Even if you just look in the mirror and tell yourself you love yourself, that will make a huge difference in your day. And doing things that feel good. Fill your own cup. Dance a little bit if you like dancing, okay? Listen to your favorite music. Make yourself some tea. I don't know what you like. Treat yourself to some coffee. And practicing slowing down. I'm reminding myself to do that. And it's a day-to-day thing. Sometimes I'm not feeling great. And you know what I do on those days? I just take care of myself. Because I don't have to, don't put the weight of the world on your shoulders. It's another big thing I need to mention. Because if you help one person, and that one person helps another person, and that one person helps another person, then in reality, you've just helped 5 people by just doing one nice thing for one person. And that's what it's really about. It's just not trying to fix and save everybody. It's just about being that kind person that shows up and shows people, oh wow, good people exist. Someone who's very patient with me exists. Someone who complimented me exists. You change the trajectory of that person's life, even if it's just for that day, in that moment. And then they go on to change other people's days and their moments. So, I think that's where I'm going to leave it off. I feel like I've said what I could about it. And let's discuss this more. If you want to comment down below on what your tips are, please. I'm happy to hear them as well. I would love to know what you do to help yourself and help others. You know, there's plenty of different ways we can all get creative in this lifetime. Seriously, 200 videos. This has been a crazy, amazing journey. I really don't have the words to explain this whole journey that I've been on, and being able to share it is such a huge privilege for me, and I'm very grateful every single day. So thank you everybody who's been there for me in my life and who's been supporting watching these videos along the way. And I hope you all just find these videos helpful and interesting and entertaining, because that's a big goal of mine, just to be present, especially in these YouTube videos, and opening myself up, being vulnerable. So yeah, hopefully another 200 more, and then 200 more after that. I'm gonna keep going. Nothing's gonna stop me from posting these videos, honestly. So thank you all for watching, and I hope you stay safe out there, okay? Mwah!